everybody, welcome back to Challenge the Call of Max and Avery. I'm your host, Max.
And I am Avery. How are you guys?
All right, so we're going to get right into the swing of things here. Avery's actually recording from Illinois right now. Where are you guys at? Chicago? Galesburg?
No, we're in Galesburg, Illinois. It's about 2.5 hours away from Chicago. Out here seeing family, so it's kind of cool to come back to Illinois. You know, seeing bear stuff everywhere. When you don't see bear stuff everywhere in Omaha, it's like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. I love this. And right now it's Cubs season, so it's kind of perfect too. So you just see like Cubs and Bears flags like flying all over, and it's like, these are my people right here.
Being in Eastern Iowa, I see a decent amount of bear stuff, but it will be kind of exciting to go to Chicago this summer with my girlfriend, and I'm sure I got to bring my jersey or something. I gotta be like, hey, I'm in the city. That should be a stop of ours. We should go by Soldier Field.
Oh, hey, you know, there's actually like if you go to Chicago, you can do Soldier Field like tours,
yeah,
which are really kind of cool. And then also there's like a Chicago Bears like bar up in Chicago, so check that out. And also catch a Cubs game, man. I know you went and watched a baseball game this weekend.
I did.
So.
This weekend I went and I watched a minor league game, the Cedar Rapids Colonels. Some of the other coaches were going. It was 2 for 1 night, so get one 16-ounce beer, get another one for the same price. Or, you know what I mean. So yeah. Pay for one, get two. So it's like, okay, it's like a $10 ticket. It's like $3.25 for a beer. Technically, after that deal, I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I can go. I can swing that.
Jeez, man. So I'm used to like the College World Series, and it's like $8 for a beer. Like I've been to like the College World Series in Omaha, like not like for the last couple of years, and it's like $8 a beer. So $3.25 for a beer, you can't even beat that at this hotel that I'm staying at. Let's just say that.
Definitely. Just looking at the price of one, I was kind of like, holy crap! Like, why do you drink here? But
yeah.
Then when I remembered it was 2 for 1, I was kind of like, okay, that brought it back down to like standard bar price, which is still not as cheap as just going to the grocery store and getting a 24-pack. But hey, whatever. Speaking of baseball and everything, though, why don't you give everybody the MLB update on the Cubs?
Yes, sir. So go Cubs, go! We are in 3rd place right now in the National League Central. We are 7-6. Last night, Saturday night, April 15th, we lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers 2-1. Kind of sad. I lost a little bit of money on that. I like being in a state that I can bet from like my bed and not have to drive across the river to bet. But yeah, so we're pretty averagely consistent, I would say. We're averagely consistent. Some of the best teams right now that started hot. Tampa Bay Rays, 13-2 right now. It's very impressive. They got a young team over there. The Minnesota, and that's in the AL East right now. So like that's with like the Toronto Blue Jays, New York Yankees. So they're playing really well. Minnesota Twins, they are 10-5 right now, going through the American League Central. American League West, Texas Rangers. And then like the NL, like I think the NL is like the best team right now. So the Brewers are actually leading the Central. And then we got the Braves leading the East at 11-4, and then we got the Diamondbacks at 8-7, actually tied with the Los Angeles Dodgers at 8-7. So in the West, that's a lot of info. I don't know if you followed any of those records, but no, baseball's just starting, guys. So like when I see a 7-6 and they play 162 games. At least we have a winning record. Like, I'm not too worried. We're not a bottom dweller like in Nationals or the A's, so, like, I'm good. And we're a young team. Swanson's great, like, and I think we're just going to, like, keep building keep going up and up. So, yeah, let's go Cubs go.
Go Cubs.
And also, shout out to everybody on TikTok that has listened to this podcast, that followed us, off of TikTok, like we hit 1,000 likes on TikTok on one video, and that's just a big milestone for our podcast. So I love you guys. Keep going. Keep liking TikTok. Listen to our pod. I will post this on TikTok. So listen to our pod on Challenge the Call.
Yeah, and if it's a baseball thing, if it's a Cubs thing, if that's what everyone's drawn to, let us know. We'll do a lot more baseball coverage. We can go more in depth. We can talk longer about it. The more we talk about it, the more I'll learn about it, the more I can start to contribute and whatnot. But, like, if that's what you guys are into, if you're like, oh, stop talking about, no one cares these NBA playoffs, like, these random NFL players moving around, who cares? Like, talk about some baseball. We'll talk about some baseball. Reach out to us. Let us know. Comment on a video. We'll start doing that. We want to give you guys what you guys want to hear.
I love baseball, guys. So, like, if you give me an excuse to watch a lot of games, I'll take it. My wife might not be happy, but I'll take it. So let's keep going.
But for this episode, we are going to move on, and we're going to get into the WNBA had their draft. We had a couple Iowa players go, I think, a couple Iowa State players. So we'll just kind of go in order here of the rounds. First of all, the very first number one pick was Aaliyah Boston. I don't think that's a huge surprise to anybody. She was picked by the Indiana Fever. So she's from South Carolina, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know. She was one of their best players. Super awesome team. Undefeated until they ran into moi. But, yeah, so Aaliyah, you have anything to say about Aaliyah Boston going to the Indiana Fever?
I got to say, Aaliyah Boston was a stud at South Carolina, and she's, like, much deserving to be the number one pick. She was, like, the all-consensus, like, women's player of the year, not this year, but last year. And Dawn Staley, like, she knows how to coach these guys up down in South Carolina. So, like, Aaliyah Boston, like, congrats going to the Indiana Fever. Hopefully you are one of those trailblazers that are coming up from the WNBA that can kind of spark interest, because seeing her play the last, like, year, like, was incredible. Just as much as Caitlin Clark, just as much as Angel Reese, like, just as much as, like, Monica Siciano. So, like, I really am excited about it.
Definitely. I think that she is one of those trailblazers, because women's basketball is getting a lot of attention right now. Like, it's getting more and more bought into, I feel. And part of it's that Caitlin Clark effect, but part of it's also just Aaliyah Boston, current senior, just graduating, going on to the draft. Caitlin Clark's got one more year, junior. She'll be moving on. Below her is going to be Angel Reese, sophomore. In a couple years, she'll be going on. So it's this line. It's this entire, like, each generation, each year has a new and upcoming just
trailblazer
in basketball. Yeah. So that's going to build a lot of long-term, I think, kind of success for moving ahead. But going on to this, we have an Iowa State woman. She was picked in the first round, pick number 4, so only a few picks behind Aaliyah Boston. Stephanie Soares, I think is how you say that. Or Soares, I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me. But she's going to the Washington Mystics. That's who she was picked by, at least. She was picked by the Washington Mystics, but she actually already got traded to the Dallas Wings, and that makes a decent amount of sense. It seems like very soon to be traded. Like, why would you pick this person and then turn around and trade him? But I think a part of that is due to her old teammate, Ashley Jones, also from Iowa State, in the second round, pick number 7 in the round. She got picked by the Dallas Wings. So I think that played a factor into, hey, let's get both these Iowa State women over here playing for us. They have that team chemistry. They have that compatibility, that mesh with each other. So I think that played into why she got traded so quick. Like, hey, got an Iowa State over here. Let's go get her teammate for her. Let's put them together. That'll be stronger together.
For sure. And Stephanie Soares is from Brazil. She averaged 14.4 points per game and 9.9 rebounds at Iowa State. So she's a pretty successful at Iowa State, deserving of that number 4 pick. She is also 6'7". So that is probably another reason why she's going to be a great center in the WNBA. And then Ashley Jones averaged 19.4 points and 8.9 rebounds for Iowa State. So she's a guard actually out of Iowa City, believe it or not. So the Cyclones coming to take some Iowa like blood right there. I'm surprised that she committed to be a Cyclone instead of a Hawkeye. That always flabbergasted me.
It's about the same level of, Caitlin Clark coming from Des Moines. Moving to Iowa City instead of Ames. So I kind of get it. It maybe a part of their factor plays into, like me, I didn't go to college just that I work at currently that's like 15 minutes south of me. I actually went 2 hours away. I wanted to get away from home a little bit. Maybe that's what they're thinking too. Maybe I don't want to be in the city that like I grew up in, live around, whatever. Maybe they wanted to move out, be a little bit further, but they're still representing their home state.
For sure. Also, I wanted to mention one more person. I know you mentioned Angel Reese, another big contributor to that LSU Tigers national championship team. Alexis Morgan. She was drafted round 2, pick 1. She's the one that like really supported Caitlin Clark. That was super excited to see Caitlin Clark. So it's also really cool to see her get drafted. I love that sportsmanship between Alexis Morgan and Caitlin Clark. Because game respects game, and hey, you got game if you just got drafted into the WNBA. So mad respect to she's going to the Connecticut Suns. Yeah, so she was pick number 1 in the second round, so pick 13. So that's pretty good.
Nice. Maybe her and Clark will be on the same team then after next year in another draft cycle.
Yeah, they're both guards, so like 1-2 punch. That would be really cool to see. The Connecticut Suns, I don't know if I could get behind watching Caitlin Clark for the Connecticut Suns, but
yeah, I feel like of all the teams I've like seen and have kind of been listing, and part of me is like, oh, Connecticut Suns? That just
no, it doesn't even go. Cool. You don't think Suns in Connecticut. it makes sense. Florida Suns, okay, but Connecticut Suns, really? But yeah, no,
like a very powerful team, does it?
No, not at all.
But moving on finally to our one Iowa girl, Monica Sinano. She was picked in the 3rd round, the 2nd pick of the round. She's going to the LA Sparks. So we got 2 Iowa people down in California right now, with Keegan Murray down in Sacramento playing for the Kings, and now we got Monica down in LA playing for the Sparks. So Iowa to California, I guess.
Yeah, and Monica Sinano has been like really solid for Iowa for a lot of years. So like she averaged 14.9 points per game this year, 4.9 rebounds, and 1 assist. And man, she was like the peanut butter to Caitlin Clark's jelly. Like, I mean, those two went together like. It was amazing, like just to see that teamwork, that chemistry that they built together in such a short time at Iowa. Like it was awesome to see. So, mad respect. Go out to LA, kill it. I mean, you got drafted. We knew you would get drafted. We're proud of you, being Hawkeye fans. Let's go do this thing.
How much do you want to bet that next year, when Caitlin Clark gets drafted, wherever she's going to, that Sinano is going to immediately be traded, kind of like Stephanie Soares was for Ashley Jones?
I could see it. I really could. But I also see Caitlin Clark being such a trailblazer that she's like, no, I'll make my name on myself. Like, I don't need Sinano. But I could see it. Yeah. The teamwork, man, the chemistry, it was just insane. It's like Caitlin Clark could throw a pass behind her back and Sinano would know where it was going. So,
yeah, they work together just incredibly. So incredibly that I could see that just instantly happening. Like, the Sparks are just on standby watching the draft. Like, okay, where's she go? Who can we get? Who can get what from? But
Sparks aren't that great of a team, so they might be drafting number 1 overall. And right now, Caitlin Clark is projected the number 1 pick.
Number 1. So they might get her in the first place then. They might just be staying home.
Yeah, but I'm so excited for the next couple of years for the WNBA. I'm excited, and we've talked about this just personally, back and forth. I want the WNBA to kind of get more funding, or something needs to happen and kind of change and flip it on the script, because right now, there's just not enough media. I'm surprised I was watching the draft on my phone, and there was nothing on ESPN about it until a day later. That should not have happened. When you broadcast Mr. Irrelevant pick in the NFL, I get it. It's about the fans watching the WNBA. But, guys, let's spark some interest. Let's get it going.
For sure. All you basketball people out there, go flip on WNBA game. Let's buy a jersey. Maybe we'll get a Sonano jersey, or a Clark. Wait a year and get a Clark jersey when she goes out. But something, support the league.
Yeah, for sure.
But that being said, we'll move into our bread and butter here. We got a little football to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the other free agency signings that have happened around the NFL. First one being probably the biggest, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to the Ravens. So last week we talked about how Bill Belichick is, structuring his whole team around, hey, Lamar, come here. Well, you think Lamar's going anywhere now? He's got Odell Beckham Jr.
I think Lamar might be going somewhere still. The way I look at Odell is yeah, it's a nice signing. Thanks for bringing him in. But Odell's old. Odell's old, and he is 31 years old as a wide receiver. He's torn his ACL twice. And very injury prone at this point of his career. I mean, he still has some playmaking ability, but is he a 1? I don't think so. I think he's a 2. It will be exciting to see him in a Ravens jersey, though. That's a jersey I never really pictured Odell in. And so seeing him in purple is going to be interesting to see. But I don't know. I mean, I know Lamar and Odell have worked out together in the past, but they still haven't offered Lamar the money. So I don't know if he's so too far gone at this point.
Understandable. And I've heard some things as far as it was more of Lamar's doing. He's the reason Beckham is there. He reached out to him or something, was like, hey, come here for me. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I just thought it's an interesting dynamic now to see kind of we talked so much last week about the Patriots putting such faith or whatever in hey, we're making this move and whatever, please come here, play for us. Look what we're doing. We're getting rid of our quarterback for you. We're adding these guys specifically for you. And then now to have the Ravens with Odell Beckham and sweeten the pot a little bit. I wonder if Bill Belichick's thinking oh, fuck. What do I do when I'm without a quarterback this season?
Oh, man. Well, he's been without a quarterback one other time, the Cam Newton experience in New England, and that was rough. Yep. But like you said, I think this is a good move. If Lamar did reach out to Odell, this is a good move at that, because they'll have some chemistry there. I think this is going to be a good combination. My just question mark is, Odell, can you stay healthy? You sat out a whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it. You tore your ACL in the Super Bowl, and that sucks because you had a great year with the Los Angeles Rams. But you sat out a year, man. This is going to be tough to come back from. I know, another TikTok I posted, I've watched some of his, videos of him working out and, getting back into shape and, the revenge tour. So, maybe this will come. I do like Odell. I mean, and it's kind of weird because like younger Odell was kind of like more of a like head case, like, but like I've noticed like as he like gets older, the more level headed he becomes, and like more of the like okay, I'm more professional now, like, and I respect that. Everybody grows with age, and so I like that from Odell.
Definitely gotten more mature as he's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe part of that comes from some of his injuries where he's kind of like, hey, I can't be quite as boastful or whatever anymore. Like I'm a little hurt. I'm a little older. Like I'm just kind of here to play and try to stay healthy.
And the reason I bring that up is because like Antonio Brown and Odell came in the same year or around the same time. And Antonio Brown, like, he did not age well. He did not age well at all. He's out of the league for a reason. And then like Odell, but like coming in when they were both two superstars, I would say like they acted almost similar. Very, very similar. And so like to see like all like the steps and maturity that Odell has taken, I am a fan of Odell Beckham Jr.
Definitely. I can agree with that. Another movement we got is Eric Kendricks. He signed a 2-year deal for 13.25. I don't know how to say it. 13.25 million.
Yeah.
He's going from the Vikings to the Chargers. So are we glad to see him also leaving the NFC North? Or
Oh yeah, easy. I'm so happy that he's been terrorizing the NFC North for a lot of years. So to see a long-standing Viking out of the division, I will take that any day of the week. I mean, he is older, but still. And what is up with the Chargers signing older defensive players? Last year it was Khalil Mack. This year it's represent right there. This year it's Eric Kendricks. Like, what is going on, Chargers? Just go through the draft like any normal team. Stop stealing veterans.
Right.
But in this case, I'm glad you are stealing Eric Kendricks. Thank you.
Right? Like, sure, take him. Get him out of here, please. Just out. But another linebacker we got moving home, actually, Bobby Wagner. 1 year, $7 million deal. He's leaving the Rams and he's going back to the Seahawks. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it registered with me that he left the Seahawks. In hindsight, I do remember seeing him in a Rams jersey at different points throughout the year. But hey, I'm glad he's going back to the Seahawks. That's where I know him from. That's where he did his best work. Good for him getting back,
For sure. Bobby Wagner, he's probably going to go down as one of the best middle linebackers to ever play the game. Like, he's right up there with Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Mike Singletary, those type of guys. But, yeah, mad respect for him to go back home. And I always like that. It kind of sucks. We can just delete the Rams 1 year, tenure out of his bio and be like, yeah, he was a longtime Seahawk. Because, like, being at a team for a year, it's fine. But, yeah, he doesn't have as much as juice as he did, but he's going to be that great mentor for a new team to come in and like draft like a guy like Jack Campbell in the second round. Jack Campbell could learn from Bobby Wagner. That would be beautiful.
And that could be a big reason the Seahawks wanted him back, is not necessarily to play for him, but hey, you've been here for a long time. You've been with us for a long time. He not only is he a veteran presence, but he's a veteran presence that knows the ins and outs of the team and the ins and outs of their system already. So he'd be a great addition to just come and be a mentor. Like, hey, you've been with us, you know everything we do, everything we're about. That's the kind of veteran we want, one who we've taught.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I think he's going to get into coaching. I really do. Bobby Wagner's that type of guy that would get into coaching. And D'Amico Ryan, like, he's now the head coach of the Houston Texans. He is a middle linebacker. Middle linebackers are the quarterbacks of your defense. And I really believe that. So, like, I think Bobby Wagner could be an incredible coach. And that's probably why Pete Carroll brought him back. Hey, you want to be a player/coach this year? Come on in, mentor our young guys. He's like, I'll have a coaching position ready for you at the end of this year. You're a longtime Seahawk. Come on, let's do this. And I really think that's what that standpoint is. It's like the next phase of his career.
Yeah, that would be awesome, actually. That'd be quite the deal. Just like, hey, 1-year contract, come be a player coach, and then just, like, I'll put you on. That would be awesome. I would enjoy that for him. That'd be a cool thing to see. Like we were talking about our different coaching stories and whatnot. Like that's one of them. That seems like more of a typical one for some of these guys. Like, get done playing, just join a staff. But it's a fun one.
For sure.
All right. Another movement we got. Going to talk about Dalton Schultz, tight end, 1-year deal, $9 million, leaving the Cowboys, going to the Texans. So didn't go very far, but
3-hour drive. Yeah, staying in Texas. This is a good move for Houston. Like, I feel like Houston's kind of like subtly doing like a little couple of moves here and there and making their team a little bit better. Huge loss for the Dallas Cowboys. Dalton Schultz is like another guy like Mike Gesicki that we talked about last year, kind of very underrated tight end that people don't really talk about as much. I would say he's a little worse than Gesicki, but like I think he's still a decent tight end. I know he was Dak Prescott's like security blanket last year, so it'll be interesting to see what happens under like Schultz being gone and what they do at the tight end position. Maybe Sam Laporta gets drafted in the 2nd, 3rd round by Dallas. I mean, I know they worked him out, so
I don't know if I want Sam Laporta playing for the Cowboys.
But at the same time, I can picture his 84 and Laporta on the back in a Cowboys uniform. I don't know why, but I can actually visualize that. And it's kind of terrifying.
I could. I know what you're saying. I can almost see it too, but that would not be my preferred spot for him. But, I mean, replacing a guy like Dalton Schultz, should it happen, would also be somewhat of an honor, Like, hey, like, we got rid of kind of our longtime veteran guy, like he's been great for us and everything. We want you to step in and fill those shoes. We want you to be that guy for us now. So
we want you to elevate that position to the next level. Like He was consistent, he was good, but like I want great. So I could see that. I really could see that.
That would make sense. All right, I'll get into a couple of quarterback movements here. We got Taylor Heineke. He is on a 2-year deal, $20 million. Going from the Commanders to the Falcons. Is he going to back up or is he going to start?
As of right now, he's going to compete with Desmond Ridder.
Okay.
Desmond Ridder did not perform well last year. It was his rookie year, and he was drafted in the 3rd round. Quarterback out of Cincinnati a couple of years back when Cincinnati was like that playoff team. I want to see, and this sucks because I like Desmond Ridder in college and I love Taylor Heineke. So I'm like, damn, 2 quarterbacks that I like support are going to have to battle it out for the position. It's funny that Taylor Heineke was signed by the Falcons though, because I just remember like one of his key like, oh my God moments, because he plays like a poor man's Brett Favre. And I will always say that, throw pick after pick, but when it comes to clutch time, like he stepped up. I just remember there was the Commanders were down. I don't remember the exact score, but they were playing the Falcons, and he threw a last-second sidearm touchdown pass to end the game, to win the game for the Commanders against the Falcons. And I feel like a part of me remembers that game so vividly, and I'm like, man, is that why the Falcons signed him? They're like, damn, this guy beat it. This guy beat us.
They saw the one play, and they were just like, if we can get him doing that every play, then we got a guy.
This is a MVP right here. But, hey, Taylor Heineke, go ahead, beat Desmond Ridder because I think I like you a little bit more than Desmond Ridder. I think you'll fit well in Atlanta. I think I can picture that him in an Atlanta Falcon jersey for a long time. Like we talked about Taylor Heineke in the past, and he's a Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, he's literally the new Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to be like a 3-4 year quarterback for a lot of teams, and he's just going to bounce. He's a veteran guy.
I think Ritter's got more time. He's younger. He can definitely sit under and just maybe take a season or two to learn more under Heineke, and then he can step into his shoes. It's not like Ritter has to never live up to his full potential of being a starting NFL quarterback, because I do like Desmond Ridder too. I enjoyed watching him in Cincinnati. But he can still sit in and learn. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. Maybe the Falcons will, just, hey, are you ready to be the guy? But yeah, he's got more time. I'd kind of like to see Heineke take the majority load of this coming season, just to let him kind of watch and learn and get a little better, as opposed to what happened this year with him.
For sure. And the other thing with this, I look at that contract, 2-year, $20 million, and that's not a backup contract. That's a contract that you're coming in, you're going to start, you're going to be our starter type of contract. That isn't like your typical, because like if you look at the Jacoby Brissett, that's more of your typical backup 1-year deal.
Jacoby Brissett is going from the Browns to the Commanders. He's going to be replacing Heineke, actually. He's on a 1-year, $8 million deal. So,
yeah, I love Jacoby Brissett also. I think just what the Browns did to him is so shitty. I still think I hate the Browns because they fucked up Baker Mayfield. They fucked up Jacoby Brissett. You guys had 2 decent quarterbacks that the fans loved in Cleveland, that were like, they established and like they like acted Cleveland like. Both of those guys.
I was becoming a low-key Browns fan back when they first kind of got Baker. They had Baker, they had OBJ, they had Nick Chubb. I was like, man, this is kind of starting to become a team. Like, like it's looking good. I liked it. It was such a long-term underdog story of like, yeah, here come the Browns. Like, they're actually getting somewhere. Like, this is kind of awesome. And then, yeah, like you said, Baker got just like blasted on social media and stuff. Like, no one liked Baker. I never fully understood why. I know he had one of the worst statistical years or whatever, like that last year. But I mean, to some degree, the stats don't say it all,
For sure. A lot of that controversy actually came from the first guy we talked about with Odell Beckham. I don't know if he was running his mouth on social media about Baker Mayfield. And, that just goes to show, like, again, how far Odell has came, running his mouth about his quarterback. I mean, but, yeah, no, like, and like you were mentioning, Browns, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Jacoby Brissett was my last straw with them. Like, when they are going to let him step in, win a bunch of games, excel their season, and then be like, all right, thanks, go to the Commanders. Like, what?
They were, 6-5? 7-5? They had a winning record. They probably were going to go to the playoffs. And then they're like, oh, well, we spent $235 million on Deshaun Watson. You can't start once he's back. The guy hadn't played in 2 years.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett should have been your starter the rest of the year. He built chemistry with Amari Cooper, Nick Chubb. The team loved him. He won his last game starting. I hate that. Jacoby Brissett, he reminds me of a Josh McCown type of guy. Josh McCown, longtime backup, pretty good at filling in, being a good starter here and there. I think Jacoby Brissett is going to be fighting. I don't know what the fuck Washington's doing at quarterback. I mean, I know they brought in Jacoby, but they also got Sam Howell that they drafted in the 5th round last year. He started the very last game of the year. And they still have Carson Wentz under contract, which I'm like, okay. But Carson's going to get cut. They're just waiting for the dead cap to not hit after the draft. So Carson Wentz will get cut.
I think Jacoby is their guy. Like, I think he's good. Like I said, he was my last straw with the Browns. I'm over that organization as a whole now. Like, I can't cheer for them the way they've, pushed out a couple of these quarterbacks that I think they had no business pushing out. But so I think Jacoby's the guy. I think he goes in. I think he's their starter. Maybe Sam Howell sits under him, learns more, kind of like a Desmond Ridder situation. But I'm all for Jacoby stepping in and, hey, let's bring the Commanders to the playoffs. Let's have them knock the Browns out of the playoffs. Fuck the Browns.
Yeah, if you think about it, dude, like last year, the Commanders were close. I don't know if you remember, there was an NFC East like at one point in like week 17 or week 16. All of the NFC East teams were in the playoffs. And so, like, even in that tough division with Philly and Dallas, and like we saw Dallas losing a key part. Like, and Miles Sanders is gone, and like in Philadelphia, we've talked about that. Philadelphia has gotten picked apart.
Yeah.
So if you think about this, Jacoby Brissett comes in and he's solid for Washington. They have a great defense. They have McLaurin. They have good receivers. Why not Washington? And why not Jacoby Brissett?
Definitely.
I'm just saying.
They could make a huge stride. Like you said, they were right on the cusp of it this season. I think with Jacoby Brissett, there's no doubt that they go next season. I think they are in.
Yeah, because like no disrespect to Taylor Heineke, I think he has more big play potential. But Jacoby Brissett's going to give you that average. Like he's a great game manager, and sometimes that's all you need in the NFL. Is a great game manager. Like, look at how much like success Joe Flacco, Alex Smith had in their careers. Jacoby Brissett, he just needs somebody to give him a shot, and I'm hoping Washington's like notices that, because with a great defense, that's all you need is a great game manager.
For sure. And yeah, I think they'll see a lot of success this season. And you think of the Eagles too, like you said, they got picked apart. Jason Kelsey's also retiring. So, like, that line is even not going to be quite the same.
Jason Kelsey admitted he's coming back for one more year.
Oh, is he? He is going to come back? Yeah. He pulled a Tom Brady on us.
He pulled the Tom Brady on us. Hey, it's hard being – I couldn't even imagine, like, being, like, an offensive lineman year 12 with 3 kids.
Yeah, right. I fully support going back, though. Like, I know I was questioning his retirement so hard. I was like, but y'all – we're right there. You were right. I was like, I wanted him to go get another Super Bowl. I was a little disappointed that he was going to be leaving, but if he's coming back, then yeah, go Kelsey.
All right.
Jason.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on from this signings talk. We gotta get rolling here. We're gonna talk a little bit NBA playoffs now. I officially have started watching some NBA, so that's exciting. But first, we'll get started with play-in games. Sound good? We'll go through all the play-in games and stuff. So the way I know NBA playoffs are a little different than college playoffs because it is a part of a 6-game series following the play-in games. Play-in games are still like a 1-game thing. But even them, they structure a little differently, right? Because you have 2 play-in games, and the winners automatically get in. And then you have another couple play-in games that'll play the losers of the first 2 play-in games, who will then, the winner from that game will go on. So it's a lot weirder of like a play-in system. It was confusing when I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute, why is the Heat playing again? Like, they lost. What's going on? But I pieced it together. I figured it out. And then, yeah, they go on a 6-game series instead of just a one-and-done single elimination type thing. So do you I know I was asking you this last night. Do you think it takes away any of the excitement from any given game, just knowing that they're going to play 5 others and that one game in the grand scheme of thing more or less doesn't matter?
I do. I think you're right. And it sucks because, like, I would rather have some intensity. what I would rather have is a 3-game series. Like, I get that you want to keep like these a longer series, give them a better shot, because like there's some flukes that happen because like I'm going to relate it to college basketball and March Madness. Like, there's flukes that happen. Like, look at Furman versus Virginia. That was a fluke win, and then Furman got demolished in round of 32. You get those 3 games, like 2 out of 3. That's what you got to win. I think that would be that would be a lot better than what we are at with the 6-game, because especially if like you see like a team like, the T-Wolves that are moving on, and they're facing a rough team against like the Nuggets, like it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna be like, okay, it's gonna be a 4-0 series. Like, literally, it's gonna be straight 4 games. Nuggets win all 4 games. And then who wants to watch that? I don't want to watch that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, which on those fences, it's all right because, like, yeah, who wants to watch that? Well, probably Nuggets fans. Like, if the Kings were about to just go in and bully a team for 4 games, like, I think it'd be a little entertaining. I don't know if I'd watch the whole game or anything, but, like, as a Kings fan, Keegan Murray fan, like, I'd still probably flip it on, be kind of like, yeah, let's go, guy. Like, let's see what we can put up. But no, I'm fully with I understand why a series is a little bit better in a sense of, yeah, the best team truly comes out on top. You don't get those little weird flukes. You don't get those upsets that are truly upsetting of like, that should not have happened. Like, what the hell? But at the same time, yeah, 6 games.
Right.
Part of it just makes me nervous, especially because, like, I don't know. You watched the Kings game last night. I know we were talking about it a little bit, but that game was so close and such a battle. And a part of me is like, great, we came out on top. We did it. Now we got to go do it at least 4 more times to have it like locked, potentially 6, because we'll probably give up 1 or 2 of those. How do you beat Stephon Curry? I was honestly surprised that we won this one in the first place. Like some of the shots he makes. I've never truly actually watched him play. I know his legacy. I know I've heard all about him. I know who he is, all that. But actually watching him play is just absolutely insane. He just yucks it up on the move from wherever, and it goes in. I'm like, how do you beat a guy like that?
For sure, yeah. Steph Curry is one of the dynamic shooters that have ever played the game of basketball. But no, you're right. Like, it's going to be hard for the Kings to pull off 4 more games. Like, it's going to be tough, and I'm surprised they won last night. Even that, like, we don't have the score on here, but like, yeah, it was a great game. And I want to talk about De'Aaron Fox. Okay, so I don't know if I know you kind of just started following NBA a couple of years back. When De'Aaron Fox came into the league, he was known as a bust for his first 2 years. He took a while. He was too short. He was too small. Couldn't do this. Couldn't do that. Don't quote me, but he came in around the same time as Trae Young for the Hawks. But yeah, and they always compared each other, and he was known as a bust. But look at this guy explode this year. De'Aaron Fox exploded this year, and 38 points last night. My God, man, you are incredible.
He was killing it, and my fandom only resides with the Kings because that's where Keegan Murray went and everything, obviously. But even just watching the game last night, like, Keegan Murray, I don't remember being on the floor a ton. I don't know how many minutes he played exactly, but I know definitely in the final endings of things, he wasn't out there. It was all his teammates, all these other guys. But even aside from that, I was ecstatic seeing Fox go out there and do good. What's their other guy? Name starts with an M, like Monk or something. He was also doing a good
Malik
Monk. Yeah, he was also killing it out there. That was awesome. And so part of me is growing into like a true kind of Kings fan, like if Keegan Murray were to leave, I don't know. A part of me would still fuck with the Kings a little bit. I think I liked I liked the uniforms. I think they look cool. I liked watching them play. I liked their story of, they were kind of same as the Browns, that longtime underdog, weren't doing so hot, and now here they are back in the playoffs as a 3 seed nonetheless. So part of me is kind of like, you know what? Keegan Murray aside, I think I can fuck with the Kings.
And, I don't blame you one bit. That's actually how I started being a Bucks fan. Like, they were a long-time loser before Giannis. I got in before Giannis, and then you get that superstar, and you're like, oh, this is what winning's like? I'm a Bears fan. I'm a Cubs fan. I don't know what winning's like. And then it's just like building after that. And it's really exciting to see. But, yeah, no, back to Keegan Murray. He only had 2 points and 4 rebounds last night. That's okay. He's a rookie. That's okay. Like, I guarantee there's going to be some dog games coming up that he's going to have to step into that role of hitting those threes that he did in the regular season. Because the Kings, I want to talk about this real quick since we're on them. The Kings, they had the 24th ranked defense this year. They had the second best offense throughout the whole year, but they had the 24th ranked defense.
And you can tell that just looking at the game, because it was like 127. I think it was one of the highest scoring that I've seen yet, of 126 to 123. So like that, I think that's the highest anyone has scored so far, at least in the play-in / playoff series. And so, like, that just goes to show, like, they gave up 123. It's one of those typical stories. We've talked about it with Iowa before. Hey, you give up 123. Do you think you won or lost? You probably lost. But you put up 126. Nah, that's a win for you. Like, that's a good game.
Yeah, and, like, that's going to be hard, too, to keep having that repetitive every night, every week, like seeing that's going to be hard to keep going, especially in the playoffs, especially when they, like, I think they match up well with the Warriors, because the Warriors they play defense, but they don't play as well of defense as other teams. But if they beat the Warriors because they outscored them and then they run into the second round, that's going to be tough, because they're looking at probably the Nuggets in the second round, and that's one of the best defensive teams in the league.
Definitely.
So it's going to be tough.
I just want to say, I can confirm now that is the most points that anyone has scored so far in this play-in / playoff series. There's only been 3 other true playoff games, first rounders, but even in all the play-in games, like, this is the highest score that there was. Even the Warriors are tied for the second highest score of this entire series. The Thunder also scored 123 in their playing game against the Pelicans. They did win that. But so yeah, the offensive production is there. It's always that defense that needs to be a little like, okay, offense does win games, but let's be able to guard. Because I got nervous toward the end, how the Kings were up and they were kind of starting to give it up a little bit at the end there and stuff. That's where I was like, okay, offense is great to have and everything. Let's keep scoring. But we also need to be able to stop the Warriors. If you can't stop them from scoring, you're not going to score on 100% of your series or drives or whatever you want to call them. So you got to get a couple stops here and there. You need a little bit of defense in your arsenal to pull out some of these tougher games, because shit does get hard in the playoffs. Like, the playoffs is when things ramp up, get more intense. Like, no one's here to lose anymore. Like, no one's just giving it up because whatever. Like, they're going.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Did you watch that play-in game with the Atlanta Hawks versus the Miami Heat?
I did.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about this game a little bit. 116 to 105. Duncan Robinson, 27 points off the bench. That is insane to me. Off the bench. Duncan Robinson is he's starting to become one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. And just seeing him off the bench, I like this Heat team, and I'm kind of terrified because, like, out of any team that the Bucks could have played, this is the one I did not want to play.
Really?
Yes, because Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson and just like the Heat turn it on in the playoffs. I remember the COVID year in 2020, they were a 6 seed and they won the whole damn thing.
Wow.
And so like I'm nervous like with like the Bucks. I mean, I think the Bucks will have a good shot at like we're the best team in the in the league right now, or I would say in the East. We're the best team in the East right now. So like I'm nervous though. I think the Heat are really good, and it's gonna be very exciting to see, and I'm excited for this matchup. But god damn, I did not want the Bucks to have to play the Heat.
For sure. So we'll run through the playing games and where those did land up, and then we'll go through all the first round matchups and stuff like that. So, yep, as you said, the Hawks and the Heat played first. Hawks won it 116 to 105. So Hawks automatically go into that 7 seed. Heat has to run through one more team. Unfortunately for our Chicago Knights, that team was the Bulls. But the Timberwolves also played the Lakers. Lakers won that, so they automatically got in. That was 108 to 102.
I hate that. I hate that. I hate the Lakers. LeBron, retire, please. Just get out of the league, man. You've been in the league too long.
Well, and who do they play? They play the Grizzlies. So hopefully they'll be knocked out pretty soon. First round, they're going against the 2 seed. But I mean,
the Grizzlies, they're a fun team. John Morant, I think they're young, but they're fun to watch. So we'll see.
Sure, we'll see. Hey, it's basketball. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Of course, it's a 6-game series, so it's a little bit harder to say anything can happen. But still, anything could happen 4 times.
I mean, if you think about it, LeBron is one of the best players in the NBA and has been, and he's known as one of the GOATs of the NBA. So maybe he can pull old man Tom Brady and get him to the championship.
I think his biggest thing anymore is kind of an effort play. He turns it on when he wants to turn it on, and he doesn't necessarily play for his team in the moments that he always should or has to. So, if
he wants to win the championship, he's got to be on this whole series, this whole playoffs, because that Lakers team, they're decent. I'm not gonna lie to you, they're decent, but I don't think if he doesn't play like LeBron James, they don't have a shot in hell.
Definitely. Next playing game, we had the Bulls versus the Raptors. The Bulls pulled it off 109 to 105. I did watch that game too. I was kind of I'm not a Bulls fan, don't get it wrong, but at the same time, Chicago, Bulls, I was all right, come on, Bulls, let's go.
They're starting to become my second, my second team, and I can't because they're both in the same division, the Bucks and the Bulls. But the thing with this, I love this. DeMar DeRozan's daughter was at the game, and she was screaming every time free throws were shot. The Raptors went 17 for 36 on free throws. DeMar DeRozan's daughter is literally the reason the Bulls pulled this off. And hey, she was just helping out her old man.
So was she not at the game against the Heat then, or what happened?
No, it wasn't, because it was a school day. So DeMar said, "No, it's a school day. You can't be at the game."
Well, darn it! Didn't she get out of school to watch the? You're the only reason they made it past that game. Don't you think she deserves a pass on one day of school?
Exactly. That's what I said. As a future educator, I would have been like, "It's fine. Just go."
Be no, get out of here. The Bulls need you more than we do.
Exactly. You were defensive MVP, man. You were the defensive MVP of that game. Yeah. But it showed against the Heat as the second playoff game. Yep. It really did.
To finish up the first series of the play-ins, Thunder played the Pelicans, as I mentioned earlier. Thunder's won 123 to 118. No one cares. Yep, second series. The Bulls played the Heat. This one was interesting to me because I actually watched both of those play-in games. I watched the Hawks and the Heat, and I watched the Bulls and the Raptors. So I was oh, cool. Now these two teams, I already watched a game of them. Get to see them go together again. Unfortunately, the Bulls lost this one, as we mentioned, 102-91. So super low scoring game. Did you watch that one? What do you have to say about that one?
Yeah, no, I did. The Bulls were winning. They had it in the bag, and it came down to free throws. They were missing their free throws. It came down to free throws, and like I think the Heat went on like a 11-1 run at the end of the last like 2 minutes of the game, from 4 minutes to like 2 minutes of the game. Like they went on an 11-1 run, and they caught up, and they never looked back. And it sucks because like the Bulls were kind of that Cinderella team of like the play-in, because they were the 10th seed. They were literally they squeaked into the playoffs, or the play-in games. They squeaked in, and so I really wanted to see them actually make it to the playoffs, because I want to see a 10 seed go. I want to see a 10 seed just like March Madness, because like watching that first game, Bulls versus Raptors, it almost kind of felt like a little bit of college basketball in it.
I wanted them to make it just because, Chicago team. I was like, okay, yeah, come on. It's a Chicago team. Let's do it. But, yeah, it was unfortunate they didn't pull it off. Their issue, they were up. Like you said, like they were up. That's the problem. Because they didn't win the first game against the Raptors by being up and holding on to the lead. They came from behind. They were the ones that flipped the script on them. So, I think they needed to do that again. They needed to, let the Heat be coasting and then sneak up at the end. They needed to be that 11-0 run, not vice versa. So, last play-in game we got Thunder versus the Timberwolves. Timberwolves did pull this one off, so they will be going in at the 8th seed against the Nuggets. But that game was 120-95. We just talked about some offensive production, like insane offensive production from like the Kings, the Warriors, the Thunder. How about the lack of offensive production in these last two games? When was the last time you saw an NBA game that a team didn't score 100 minimum?
Yeah, that's insane to me. It doesn't happen very often. It's the NBA. Their Taylor do score over 100 points. Yeah. So, like, seeing a 91 and a 95, it's like, wow, like, very low production. I want to talk about the Thunder real quick. I know they lost, but they're very, very – they are – did you know there's college basketball teams that have an older roster than the Oklahoma City Thunder do?
Really?
They are the youngest team in NBA history, and they're doing well. Like, I mean, like they made it to the play-in, and they have 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years. So, like, Thunder's future is very, very bright.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just seeing them. Like, yeah, I know they lost to the Timberwolves, but they're not there yet. Like we saw like. We see NFL teams build like this, like the Eagles. Like, oh my gosh, like the Thunder give me the Philadelphia Eagles vibes, built through the draft and built like to sustain, not just to be a flash pan. Kind of what Ryan Poles is doing in Chicago, built to sustain. So,
yeah, hope the Thunder sounds like they'll be a team to keep their eye on for the next few years. Then,
well, yeah. 100%.
Getting into it, let's go into these actual first-round matchups, which are weird because it's a 6-game series, so we can't just talk about them like the same way. But as you alluded to, we have the Bucks, number 1 seed, obviously going against the Heat. I do think the Bucks take that one. I'm not as NBA proficient or anything as you are, so I don't really know. All I know is the Bucks have been killing it all season. They're a good team. Giannis is unstoppable. I think the Bucks don't have too much to worry about.
No, I do think the Bucks will pull this off, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep like a lot of people thought if it would have been the Bulls, for example.
For sure. Well, but that's the nice thing about the whole 6-game series, to a degree, is that I would be more nervous if they were playing the Heat and it was like a single round elimination, because, the Heat could pull off that sneaky win every once in a, like maybe they win 2 of the 6. Like that's a possibility. So since it's a 6-game series, I don't think the Bucks will have an issue. Obviously, it might be 4-2 in that series by the end of it. But that's kind of the nice thing about the series a little bit, is it gives you a little bit more of that leeway.
And I think it could get to a game 7. I think it could end up being 4-3. But I don't see that happening. That's just me being skeptical, being a fan. Like, you think the worst case scenario. I just remember Jimmy Butler terrorizing Milwaukee a couple of years back. Jimmy Butler's scary in the playoffs. I don't like facing Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. There's certain type of guys that they perform okay in the regular season, but when they get into the playoffs, they're a different type of breed. And Jimmy Butler's that type of guy. And I don't like that.
We are Bears fans. We are Hawkeyes fans. Forgive us if we don't go into every matchup with the utmost skepticism of, hey, yes, how are we going to lose this?
What could happen? There's one big factor into this. Chris Middleton has missed a lot of games this year. Chris Middleton is our number 2 guy, and I think Chris Middleton being back for the playoffs is going to put Milwaukee on the next level. Our defense has been performing with him being back, Brook Lopez, Andrew Holiday. I think we're fine, especially against the AC Heat, but man, it's going to be tough. Like, just as a fan to watch, it's going to be tough for me. I don't know if it's going to be tough for the Bucks, but it's going to be tough for me.
and I feel that to the fullest. Like I said, Chicago Bears, the Iowa Hawkeyes, football and basketball, even just like every game you got to go into and just be like, all right, how are y'all going to disappoint me today? Like, but moving through the rest of these a little bit, we'll go through the East first and then through the West. Number 2 Celtics against number 7 Hawks. I think Celtics sweep that, or maybe not sweep that, but I think they win out. I did make a bracket. I did make an NBA playoff bracket on ESPN. I forget exactly all my picks, but I did make one.
Well, and they played game 1 yesterday, and the Celtics won 112-99.
Yeah.
So, like, they're already up 1-0. The Hawks, they snuck in with the play-in game, so we'll see. The Celtics, they are one of the best teams in the East. So,
yeah, Celtics they'll give the Bucks a run for their money. That'll be the series to watch. That'll be
right before the finals, man.
Yeah,
that will be the finals, because I think whoever comes out of the East is gonna win the championship.
Well, the Kings are going to win the championship, but
if they can get past Golden State.
Fair enough. No, I actually do have. I made 2 brackets. I think I have the Bucks winning in one, and I think I actually have the Nuggets winning in another one.
Okay. Hey, Nuggets are a good team, also.
I gotta support the Denver crowd. Being a low key Denver guy, I gotta throw my shout outs there. But
for sure.
Next we got 76ers as the 3 seed versus the 6 seed Nets. These guys also played a game 1 series already. 76ers won it 121-101. So pretty sizable score. I don't know if that's these are 2 teams I don't know as well. I believe I picked the 76ers moving on out of this just because of the seed, but I don't really know these teams.
And this is a hard game because the 76ers, they are a great team. They like to choke here and there, but they are a good team. They're 3rd seed in the East right now. So I think but the Nets, the reason they're there is kind of because of what that team was prior to the trade deadline. They had Kyrie Irving. They had Kevin Durant. And both those guys got traded out, but they already had a lot of wins under their belt. They kind of limped to the end of the playoffs. So I think Sixers will take this for sure.
Yeah, I believe that's. I was just going to pull up my brackets so I could actually double check on this. But next we got the number 4 Cavaliers versus the 5 Knicks. Did they play one yet? They did play one. Yeah. The Knicks won 101-97. So a little bit of a closer game between these 2 guys. I think I had the Cavaliers moving on out of this. Although with the Knicks winning that one game, I don't know if I made the right choice.
Hey, the Knicks, I watched that yesterday. I watched that whole game, and it was a great game to watch. I loved every little bit of it. It was back and forth. I also put money on it, so maybe that's why I thought it was a great game to watch. Whenever you put money on a game, it's like, oh, this is more entertaining because I invested.
I actually picked the Knicks moving on in one of my brackets. In the one I have the Bucks winning, so I'm decently satisfied there. Granted, there's 5 games to play, so we'll see. But
no, yeah, and the Knicks, they pulled it off 101-97. Julius Randle balled out for the Knicks this game. And I like Julius Randle. He scored 19 points, but the star of the show was literally Jalen Brunson. He's young, man. He's very young. He scored 27 points. This Knicks team could be scary in a couple of years. I think they have a lot of potential. They could go. I think they're going to win this series. I think they're going to pull it off against the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs are also a young team, but I think just the style of play that I've witnessed from the Knicks, I think they're going to take this series.
And this series could go either way. In the 2 brackets I made, I actually have them flip-flopped. So one of them, I have Cavaliers moving on. This other one, I have the Knicks moving on. So it's truly a toss-up. From my unknowing head, this was a toss-up as well. But sure. Next, the Nuggets will face off against the 8-seed Timberwolves, who made it out of the play-in series. I think the Nuggets win that. Like I said, kind of Denver guy. Got to support the girlfriend's family. You know, they're all Nuggets fans and stuff. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to wear a Keegan Murray Kings jersey into that house, but I was thinking about that last night. I was kind of like, I want a Keegan jersey. Could I ever wear it? I don't know, but I want one.
In Iowa, I
can wear it. I'd have no problem wearing it in Iowa. I go visit her in Colorado though, and I might be treated with some looks.
Yeah. Well, hey, just think about this. I literally wear Iowa gear all the time in Nebraska. There you go. That's all you got to say. So I know those looks. I get those looks.
Next, as we talked about earlier, we got the number 2 Grizzlies versus the number 7 Lakers. Did I pick Nope, I did pick the Grizzlies. I want the Grizzlies to get. I think they got a decent shot. Like we kind of said, LeBron would have to play on for the whole series to kind of not mess up. I don't know if he's capable of that. I don't know if he wants to do that. He might be capable. I don't know if he wants to. I don't know if he cares enough.
I don't think so either, because he wants to he wants to be in the league when his son comes. So I don't think he cares about this championship, or at least this year. I think that year that his son comes in, which should be next year or 2 years from now, then he'll probably all right, let's go get this championship. But it might be a little too late by then, because he'll be 41 years old. And in the NBA at 41, whew, imagine those knees, man.
Yeah, that would be a rough time. Everything is going to be hurting.
I have bad knees, and I don't even do anything. I can't imagine playing in the NBA since I was 18. Whew.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where that goes with it. I love that this game I love and hate that this game just all comes down to kind of we're talking about LeBron. Who's going to win this game? I don't know. Does LeBron want to win it? That's the question we're asking. It's slightly sad, but it's true. It's how basketball is. Does LeBron want to win it? Well, then he might win it.
Yeah, honestly.
Next, talked about this one plenty earlier. We got the Kings and the Warriors. I have to have the Kings moving on. Come on, guy. I'm not going to pick against the Kings.
I picked the Kings also. I have to support. I have to support you, and I got to support Keegan Murray. So I gotta, even though I love Steph Curry, I've always loved Steph Curry. I've loved the Splash Bros and Klay Thompson. I love the Splash Sister and Caitlin Clark. So I love the Splash Bros, but I like also a true underdog story in the Kings.
It's a fun team to watch. They are the Warriors going out there. It was such a good game. this series is going to give me so much anxiety, I can tell, because just watching it already, I know I was kind of saying like, oh, is it less intense because of this whole 6-game series?
But you're looking forward
But yeah,
to this
at the
next
same time,
matchup.
I'm sitting there, we're like down by a point, or like we're up a couple points. Curry hits a 3. I'm like, God, come on, defense! Like I'm still freaking out, like I do in a game. So I think you lose some intensity, but at the same time, you don't. Like in the moment, when you're seeing the score and stuff, especially because you got to think this first game, like you're setting the tone. Like you're setting the tone for like, hey, are we going to give ourselves the momentum, like a decent path? Like being 1-0 already in the series is kind of like a, hey, we don't have to, come out and do anything crazy. We just got to keep doing what we're doing. So I like that good standing. It is still intense. It is still basketball, fun to watch. But yeah, Kings it's going to be a good series. I'm a little worried about it because I need us to move on from this. But
at least make it to the second round.
At least just get to the second round. Like, come on, like give me however many more weeks of watching the Kings. But next we got the number 4 Suns versus the number 5 Clippers. I think I took the Suns moving out of this.
Good move. Suns are a very dangerous team. They have a lot of potential, a lot of firepower. I'm scared for like anybody in the West to face a 4-seed Suns, and they have Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the NBA. They have Jay Crowder. They also have multiple other guys like Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Like this team is just like you build a team in a lab, and this is that team. Like you've watched Space Jam. Everybody's watched Space Jam. The Monstars. That's what I think when I picture the Suns. This is like the Monstars. So like, good luck for the West.
I've been seeing, or I heard some stuff talking about like they might be the sneaky pick to win the West. So that'll be terrifying if it does come down to the Kings playing them later on, which it will, right? I don't know how much later, or assuming the Kings continue to move. I don't know who the next matchup would be. Would it be the next matchup?
No, it depends. Nuggets would win. Grizzlies. You guys would probably face the Grizzlies next.
Tough.
But that's only if the Grizzlies beat the Lakers. Yeah. It's hard to speculate there because there's a lot of games that could go the other way. Like we've mentioned, there's players that don't turn things on until the playoffs because of it.
For sure. And that does raise another question for me too, as far as playoffs go. Is each round entirely seeding matchup?
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So it'd be like Nuggets versus if the Lakers won.
So yeah, whoever wins the games, you're always gonna reshuffle and say high seed, low seed, high seed, low seed, high seed.
It's like the NFL.
Okay. So that's also different than college because in college, it's like you move on, you play a set team next week. It's like, hey, go here. There's 2 teams that could possibly be here. Seeding is irrelevant, and that's kind of.
And if you're 16 seed, you get an easier way to the championship because
I was just gonna say that's part of the reason that we could potentially have 3 seed, 2-5, or a 4 seed, 2-5 seeds, and a 7 seed in the plays because once a 1 seed's out, they're out. That entire region is like, hey, we can go kind of take this now. But okay, so I think I kind of like it that way. I'd have to put more thought into it. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of like doing it that way or if it's more interesting having it be kind of coming down, but I get why they do it. It is a better system as far as like we want the best team to truly win it. It does accomplish that more successfully, so I get it.
And I want to mention one thing with this too, and this kind of relates to baseball too. Stop playing so many games a year, everybody. Like 162 for baseball and 82 for NBA. I get it. And I love NFL, and I think 18 games is a sweet spot because I don't think they could play much more than, or 17 games. I don't think they could play much more than 17 games without, dying. But NBA, like, there's a reason, like, you got a 4-seed Suns, or you have a 8-seed Heat, or like a 7-seed Lakers. These stud players like LeBron, Kevin Durant, like, these guys haven't turned it on throughout the regular season because they knew they could coast to the playoffs. So that's where it is. And then we get a 7-seed Lakers. We get a 4-seed Suns. And, like, that's fine and all, but it messes up the playoff, like, continuity of, like, an actual, like, seeding. Like the 3-seed Kings. There's no way a 3-seed Kings, when the Suns have, like, this monster all-star team, they should not be ahead of them. The Kings should be a wild, like, 5-seed, 6-seed. But it's because the Kings were like, fuck, we're going to play all year long because we're never this good, and we're going to rack up the wins. And then the Suns are like, we'll make it there, and then we'll turn it on.
Yeah, that's a fair point. The only reason they play so many more games, I feel like, is just because you can. Like, physically, basketball, it doesn't beat you up.
2 games a week.
Like, you can play 2-3 times a week, and you're relatively fine physically. Like, you're not as beaten up as, like, football where you're literally getting hit every time. But
same with baseball.
And baseball, like, pitching, batting, little sprints here and there. Like, you can do that almost every day. That's why they do, like, double, triple game series all the time. But yeah, no, I'm with it. It does take away some of the pressure of, like there's not a necessity to win every game. Like in the NFL, you get to the last couple games and they can kind of start pulling starters, kind of start like, okay, we know we made it, we're going to do fine. But in basketball, there's so many games. It's just like you can pull so many different games. Like, you can be just above 500 and be like, yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. But I think that's all the time we got going for today, and we're a little ways over an hour now. So thanks, everybody, for listening. I know this was a loaded episode. It's got a lot of basketball talk in this one. We're really, really hitting our basketball stride right now, with professional at least. So once again, keep liking our TikToks, watch the YouTube, comment what you want to hear. Like, do you guys want to hear more MLB? We'll get some more into baseball. Just let us know what you guys are thinking and what you guys want.
100%, guys. So this has been fun. I'm going to just say, go Kings. Hopefully they beat the Warriors. Go Bucks. Bear down!